Hello there. So I just wanted to leave a quick little word here about something in the news. So we see that the GOP's tax bill is passing, correct? And everyone is basically saying the sky is falling. It's a bad deal. Taxes, the tax cuts, something like 70% are going to the top 1%. And then even more, the top 1% of the 1% are getting a chunk of it as well. That after 10 years, the middle class taxpayer is going to see an effective tax increase. So this giant tax bill, this giant tax package is being passed, and basically the benefit is going to the ultra rich, and the middle class get a tiny benefit for the first 10 years, like something like if you make 40,000, your tax rate goes from 25,000 to 22. Excuse me. I had a peanut chew before. I'm choking on the peanut chew. Sorry about that. I'm sorry that the effective tax percentage will go from 25% to 22%. That's for the first few years, and after that, the middle class taxes will actually increase. Now, the reality of the situation is if we actually want to act like adults and if our government talk to us like adults, the reality is we are in such a hole. I mean, we're approaching 20 trillion in debt, and our annual deficit is hundreds of billions, if not a trillion. And by the way, you should know the difference between debt and deficit. Debt is the total. So debt would be your credit card, your student loan, your car payment, your mortgage in its entirety. So what you're paying for the next 30 years of your life. And the deficit would be this month, how much money you make is less than the money you have going out. So you make $2,500 a month, but you have $2,800 in bills. So your deficit would be $300 a month. At the end of a year, your debt would be $3,600. So it's important that everyone understands that. But if we wanted to act like actual adults, and if our political system was set up to treat us like adults, the reality is we have to raise taxes and we have to cut spending if we actually want to do something about our deficit and our debt, right? The debt is going to take an extremely long time to pay off. The fact is we probably never will be without debt at a national level. We're never going to pay $20 trillion off. But the problem is, the higher that number goes up, the larger our annual expense for interest is. So if our national debt is 10 billion, right, then our yearly expense for the interest will be whatever. Let's say 500 billion, whatever. That annual number would obviously double if the debt doubles. So, having a national debt isn't really a problem at face value. The problem is that every year we're wasting so much money on interest. Money that could be going to the military budget, money that could be going to healthcare, money that could be going to whatever you might have, the general fund, whatever it might be. So if we want to be adults and we want to do what's actually prudent, we do have to raise taxes and cut spending. Now, that's a very hard political argument to make. What politician is going to say, hey, I'm going to raise your taxes and you're going to get less for your taxes? That's a really, really, really hard sell. But again, if Americans wanted to act like adults, we would do that. But unfortunately, it seems like we do not want to act like adults. Well, at least the baby boomer generation doesn't want to act like adults, right, Carl? Carl agrees. Anyway, so back to the politics of the situation. And both sides are playing politics it's disgusting. I don't know who's worse. I mean, the Republicans are passing this bill that they know basically is only supporting their wealthy backers and their wealthy lobbyists and whoever runs around in those GOP higher circles, high on the totem pole circles, right? Those people are benefiting. But the Democrats are being a little sinister as well, because if they really felt that this was horrible for the country, right? we have very short memories in America. Do you remember in Obama's first term when basically nothing could get passed because of the filibuster-proof supermajority? So basically, for all intents and purposes, the U.S. Senate rules changed in the first term of Obama, where to get anything passed, 51 votes wasn't enough. You needed 60 votes. You needed a filibuster-proof majority. And you didn't even have to actually filibuster. Just the threat of it was enough, right? That whole politics went on. Harry Reid used it as a reason to not pass the DREAM Act and to not extend Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and basically did that for political reasons. And I feel like the Democrats are definitely not pulling the filibuster now for political reasons. Again, they know that this tax bill could be used politically against the Republicans, so they're letting it pass. Now, if they actually had the best interest of the American people in mind, they would do a filibuster, because they would know that the Republicans will never have a supermajority. They have a razor-thin majority. The vice president might actually have to be the deciding vote. So my question is to Schumer, who has some very bold language here. I mean, I think he said something like, the Republicans will rule the day that this happened. Well, okay. Ultimately, the Republicans have taken what they call the once-in-a-generation opportunity on tax reform and squandered it on corporate welfare and tax cuts for the rich, which I agree with. Okay, the top 1% of earners in our country get 83% of the benefits. The top 1% gets 83% of the benefits. What about the other? Now, I'm assuming those numbers are correct. I think they are. I saw the New York Times throwing them around. Now, if those numbers are correct and it's a tax scam that will rob the middle class to pay for corporate tax breaks, well then why isn't Chuck Schumer staging a filibuster right now to prevent this horrible piece of legislation from passing? Why was it a successful strategy for the Republicans to block everything the Democrats wanted to do when Obama was in office? But why can't the Democrats use that same tool? Why can't they use that filibuster threat? Why are they acting like that doesn't exist? You know, my take is they're taking advantage of the fact that most Americans are low information and they don't really follow policy like that. They'll hear a blurb on TV for 2 minutes and they'll think that that is enough. And I just think it's a shame. I think the Democrats are being dishonest, and I think the Republicans are being greedy. And I think right now is a really good time for the American people to realize that the two-party system really, it's not something just people say to be too cool for school. Oh man, the two-party system, yeah, but no. The two-party system really is completely failed. And I think this piece of legislation perfectly outlines that to anyone with a brain. You can see how, on one hand, the Republicans are throwing away the millions of people who voted for Trump and voted for the Republicans, working class people, just disregarding their interests to serve their daddies, to serve their donor daddies, right? That's on the one side. Then on the other side, you have the Democrats who are willing to let a horrible piece of legislation that is going to basically screw up our deficit, our debt, and not only on a national level, individual people's pockets are going to be messed up. They're willing to let all this happen instead of staging a filibuster and forcing the Republicans to have that filibuster-proof majority. And for what? So that they can win the midterm elections, which, by the way, I'm not even sure if it's a sexy enough issue, because what are the Democrats planning to do? To make an art to you're gonna, all right, let me just, I don't get the politics of it from the Democrat side, because for the first 10 years middle class people will see a tax cut. So the Democrats think they're going to make a political argument of, yeah, sure, you're getting a tax cut now, but you just wait 10 years. The average voter doesn't care about it. I mean, we might not have a planet in 10 years, so why not give a tax cut now? So, I mean, it's just, you're making an appeal to a very high level of logic, but at the same time, you're disrespecting the intelligence of these same voters. You're expecting them to piece things together, but at the same time, not piece together why aren't they staging a filibuster to stop this bill from passing. So I don't get it. It's just, really, I urge you all to like not vote for your incumbent and to consider a third party, because the only language that these people understand is force. Are they going to get reelected, or are they going to lose their job? Without that, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, and it's not working for us all, in case you haven't noticed. Anyway, guys, if you have any comments or suggestions, or you like this video, I might do more of these. It's just easier to do a video than to type tirades. Have a great day. Take care.